In our last episode, we covered these two little factories which are producing supercomputers and computers, and we needed them because today we're going to be working on nuclear power. Sorry, nuclear power. Now, in order to do this, there are a few things that we need. First, I'm going to just grab some resources from here. We're going to need some computers. Let's just take 50, and we're also going to need some heavy modular frames, which right next to, oh, perfect, we've got exactly 34. And the reason for that is we need to build some train stations, and we need to work out where we're going to connect this all to. And I'm thinking potentially the best place for this nuclear power plant so that it looks nice would actually be along this lake here. The reason for this is, first and foremost, it's a cool looking area. We also have the water nearby. We can possibly use drones to fly the uranium from the top of this mountain over here, and then everything else is pretty nearby. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to have to build railways all across here to actually get to this platform, which I have built over here. This is where all the trains are going to come in from the main line, and then we're going to have a separate network for all the stuff that's to do with the power plant. It's taken a little bit of work, but we've finally connected the rails to the station, which means that we have a place where all of the resources can come in. And thankfully, though this bridge isn't complete, I can safely say that there's no clipping from the moth. I think 10 fuel rods per minute will be pretty good for us. If we can get that going, we'll have 10 uranium power plants, and that way we shouldn't need any more power for a while. And once I've finished this power plant, if you want, perhaps I can do a super efficient build layout of this setup for you guys. But first thing that we need to do is turn this sulfur into sulfuric acid, which I think could be done quite nicely here. I'd like this to look pretty clean. So first things first, we're going to do a little walkway along here. We'll also add our extractors, which will go all, how tight can we get this in? Can we get that there? Yes. So we're just gonna run these all the way along here. It's 5 that we need, I might be mistaken. And then the other side of this, we will have the actual factory with the sulfur somehow running all the way over here. Okay, nice. This is currently what I have in mind, and don't worry, this is just a facade. It's the wall in front. There's nothing behind, but it's come on quite nicely. It's something a little bit different. We're playing around with the lighting, but also the walls as well. Also, one thing that I just want to mention, I don't know if we can see it. If we go over to my factory really quickly, you'll notice that the lights flicker. This flickering, I know the solution. So if we actually go over to the command console, unfortunately there isn't a quicker way of doing this unless you change the config file, but you can actually type in r.df, that's capital DF, then go across to shadow cool tile, world size, and from here you're going to want to put a space in and type 400, and then let's see if this works. If you press enter, it goes. Hopefully you found that little tip helpful. If you did, please do drop a thumbs up. As you can see, we've done the lighting with a mixture of beams and also the street lights. For more tips on lighting, you can check out my recent video. I'll put a link above. But what we're going to do now is run refineries, if I have the resources, all along here. So I will come back once I've done that because I don't have the items here. Now I'm just filling in this area. We're just going to close it off. I can do that in a moment. It's not quite finished. I'll probably do extra decoration once this is all done. But here we have all of our refineries, which are for sulfuric acid. And that sulfuric acid is brought down all the way to these 2 buffers, which will eventually go on to create to the uranium fuel cells. And I'll admit, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Definitely going to work on more aesthetic builds as we progress through this. However, that 600 sulfuric acid means that I do need to build quite a sizable steel factory, and then there's also quick wire and copper on top of that before going on to become uranium fuel cells, which need electromagnetic control rods and that kind of stuff. So a lot to get on with. And knowing that this particular spot, this little oasis, has lots of coal nearby as well as caterium, not to mention... Oh, no, I'm trying to... Not to mention that underneath here No, stop! You can't see this, but there's a dead body under there. I was so close. The worst thing about this is that every time we die, we have to put the counter up. So, this is just awkward. Ripping chat. Anyway, back to work. If you'd asked me if I felt sorry for them, absolutely not is the answer to that. So all I can say is goodbye. Wait, did that not kill it? Never mind. We have underneath here a pure iron node. So this is going to be perfect for our little steel factory, which we will be placing just down here. The railway has run all the way from the lake over there all the way along here, and we're actually trying to make it follow the curvature of the world, really. So that's why we're doing this, and hopefully this will go straight into there. This is the steel plant that I've kind of come up with. I'm actually going to go in, give you a little bit of a tour so that you can see what we're doing. It gets a little bit hectic. Obviously, we have the iron and the caterium, which come from the top over here, or at least will do once this is turned on. And this goes down into the factory. We're also going to be operating a push-pull system. So the far station is for copper. That's going to bring the copper sheets in and the wire. And then the closest one is going to be taking all the resources. So the stators, the AI limiters, and the steel beams that we produce here, all the way back to the uranium fuel cell plant. Bye-bye, train. We have the coal inside the factory, and this is all going to run along the merging line here. This is for the iron. This is a pure iron ingots refinery setup. And then this obviously goes to a foundry setup to create the compacted steel. On the bottom floor, we have the smelters for the caterium, and then above this, we have the constructors for the quick wire. And then in this small section, we're going to have, I think it's 12 constructors for steel pipes. We're going to somehow fit 15 assemblers for the AI for the stators, but those are actually going to be overclocked. So I think we can get away with 6. And then we also need a load of assemblers for AI limiters as well. So it's going to be pretty tight. And here we are, we've managed to squeeze it all in. I must admit, I particularly like the strip lighting, which is dead center in the factory. And you can see how tightly packed all of this is. But now that this is all ready to go, we now need to sort out the copper factory. Now I've already sourced the location, it's just across from here, and it'll be located here in the Titan forest. And we're going to be making use of the steamed sheets recipe as well as the pure copper ingots. I'm not gonna lie, this is a bigger factory than I thought it would be. I thought it would be probably about the size of the first lot of refineries, but as you can see, we've had to step it. So there's a constructor floor and then another refinery floor. It's slightly annoying me that it's not symmetrical, but at the same time, I kind of like that it's off-centered. And I'm really looking forward to lighting all of this up. Bar a little bit more decoration, the copper factory is now complete. You can see we've walled it off. I'm particularly liking these little beams here. What I've done for them is just moved up against the wall, run that up the top, and then turn this diagonally, 45 degrees, and painted it. And I have to admit, I really like the look. It just changes the texture. So I've actually made a really big boo-boo. This is a circuit line. It's one train going all the way to the other station. However, when it goes to that station, you can see it goes in and then push-pulls back out. So the resources swap freight carts each time, which has caused seizures in these lines for the machineries. So I've needed to sort that out. And the way that I've resolved that, if we go over here, you can see I've changed this line. So what actually happens is that the train comes... Oh, you can actually see it here now. You'll see this train comes in, it's going to stop at that station, and then it's going to reverse or go straight towards the next train station. Could have been much worse. Bye-bye, train. And all of these resources are going to be sent to here for our nuclear facility. But there's one big thing that I totally missed. So these power plants, they require not 1 fuel rod per minute, but 0.2, which means 1 fuel rod is enough for 5 nuclear power plants per minute. So with that, we're going to be producing enough uranium fuel cells for 50 nuclear power plants. Goodness me, we've got a lot of work ahead of us. Oh well, at least we can sync them, right? Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to our amazing supporters, most notably our TotalXclipse patrons, the Calamity Cerebral Tag, James Owen, Jerry2, Podcat, and Firefless, as well as our Lunars, Dixie Chris, Lord of July, and Ben, and our Blood Moon, Chick Norris. Until next time, guys, as always, ciao for now.